Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at mathematical questions from past questions from Laswell, J3 students who will be writing Junior Waec here in Nigeria. And we're looking at paper 1, the year 2022. And the very first question there is talking about significant figure. How do you do that? So you have the question right in front of you. Convert 82.00756 to 5 significant figure. After you must have written solution, you write out the numbers. Now, if there are 0 in between, you are also going to count them as a significant figure. But if the 0 is after the 5 numbers you've counted, then it's not necessary. Now, what significant figure mean is we want to see those amount of figures you're given. If it is 3 significant figure, we want to see you writing 3 figures only. If you are to find 5 significant figure, in this case, sorry about that, then you're going to be having 5 numbers written out afterwards. So 82.00756 as a question will be 82.008. And why is it not 7? Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 7 here happens to be the 5th number. But then we're supposed to just write out 7. But we will be considering the number after 7. If the number after 7 is 5 and above, it will be converted to 0 and you add 1 to 7 here to make it 8. And that was what we did here. And that was why we got our final answer to be 82.008. And the second question, we have find the square root of 196. And what do you do in this case? You have to look for 2 numbers that will multiply itself to give you 196. And in that case, this is what you're just going to do. Put 196 here, right? And then look for 2 numbers that will give you 196. And in this case, it is 14. Multiplied by 14, you have 196. But you're not done. How do you finally get your answer? Still, the square root, 14 multiplied by 14 will give you 14 square. Now, this square will cancel the square root, and your final answer is 14. Therefore, the square root of 196 is 14. Moving on to the third question. For the third question, we have what is the place value of the digit 3 in the number 428.531? And right here, we have the numbers written out. We have 8 to be units, we have 2 to be tens, and then we have 4 to be 100. The place value of a number directly after decimal point is tenth. The second number after decimal point is hundredth. The third number after decimal point is thousand. And if you're to write this down, it will be 300th, which is also the same as 3 over 100. So therefore, the place value of 3 in the number 428.531 is 300. So you see this in your option or this, you're free to choose anyone depending on what options you're given. Go to the next question quickly with me. Number 4. Question 4 says, evaluate 2 whole number 1 over 4. And to do this with me, you will just convert 2 whole number 1 over 4 to improper fraction. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9 over 4. And from here, we're going to have what? The square root of 9 and the square root of 4. So this is the same as square root of 9 over square root of 4. And without wasting much of the time, the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 4 is 2. So 3 over 2 is your final answer. or one whole number 1/2. So whichever one you see in your option, you're free to choose. And the last one for this video, so it won't be too long, we have the last question, which is question 5. And question 5 here says, express 168,000 correct to nearest 10,000. For us to get this correctly, we are to write out the numbers very well, and we put the place value above, so we know the one that is 10,000. So this is units, tens, and hundred, thousand, tens, thousand. So we have seen the tens of thousand, which is number 6, and the number 1 is your hundred of thousand. Now, without wasting much time, we are to convert this to tens of thousand, nearest tens of thousand. To do this, you have to consider the place value before the tens of thousand. You have to consider the place value before the tens of thousand. If the number before tens of thousand is up to 5 and above, you will change the number to 0 and add 1 to the number we have under tens of thousand. So here we have 1 to be hundred of thousand, 6 to be tens of thousand, and 8 to be thousand. So now 8 is the number before you get to tens of thousand, and in this case 8 is more than 5 and above. Remember, we are to correct to nearest tens of thousand, so which means that every other thing after tens of thousand will be 0. So in order for us to write every other thing after tens of thousand to be 0, we will consider the number before tens of thousand. If the number before tens of thousand is above 5 and above, then you will change that number to 0 and add 1 to the number under tens of thousand. But if the number under thousand, which is before tens of thousand, is not up to 5 and above, you will just turn it to 0, and then you have the numbers written out like that. In this case, the number before tens of thousand is up to 5 and above, which is 8. So therefore, we will turn this 8 to 0 and add 1 to the number under tens of thousand. And in that case, we will then have 1. 6 plus 1 will give us 7. 0, 0, 0, and 0. So 1, 2, 3, comma. So this will then be what? 170,000. That will be your final answer. And you open your brackets and write nearest 10,000. Nearest what? 10,000, and close your brackets. Alright, this is where we're going to stop for the purpose of this video. So we are looking at the past question of paper 1, Mathematics Laswell, which happened to be an external exam for students in Nigeria who happen to be in J3. Thank you very much for actively watching. We will continue the other part of this past question subsequently. Do well to like, share, and comment in the comment section wherever you're watching from. And if there is any question you would like me to solve, feel free to submit that on the comment section. Thank you very much. Till we meet again, stay safe and be good.